Hello, my friends. September is here, and that means it is time for all things fall. I know the weather doesn't always want to cooperate with my idea of fall, especially because I live in Arizona, but I will say that the mornings are getting a little bit cooler. I can actually withstand sitting outside. Football has come back, and so I am ready for all of the fall scents. Goodbye, summer. I am ready to embrace fall. In today's video, I wanted to share with you home fragrances that I am just generally gravitating towards this month. Now, I know a lot of my friends are really good about, my friends here on YouTube, some of them are really good about updating you guys on a weekly basis about what they are burning each week. For me, a monthly video is a little bit more practical just for my lifestyle, and so that is what I'm doing here today. I'm just gonna give you some updates on some candles that I have been burning. Some of these items were sent to me, others of them I purchased myself. In fact, I feel like it's a pretty good mix of both of those right here. But yeah, I'm just kind of pulling back the curtain today, sharing with you what's in my collection, what I am burning and enjoying this month. So, a quick welcome to any new viewers. Hi, I'm Katie. I like to talk about home fragrance and a little bit of beauty here on my channel. So if you find yourself wanting to stick around, please make sure you hit that subscribe button. But let's not waste any more time. Let's go ahead and talk about what I am currently burning. So I'm going to go ahead and pop up a picture of the first candle I'm going to talk about because I'm currently burning it and obviously can't, hold up a lit candle. So it's actually right behind the screen here. Currently, I am burning Possessed Plum, which is actually a Halloween release from Homeworks. Now, this candle in particular was sent to me, and I'm really glad that it was because, to be honest with you guys, this is not one that I would have picked out on my own. First off, I'm not really into Halloween. Second, plum notes have just never really appealed to me. However, I actually really like this one. Do I think that I'm going to repurchase it? I don't think so, but it is actually a really nice fragrance if you are somebody that likes more fruity fragrances for the fall instead of, well, apple is a fruit, but like typically for me at least, I always think fall is pumpkin, spice, apple. That's pretty much my wheelhouse, any type of gourmand, but I don't generally go outside of that for these months months, September, October, even going into November. So let me go ahead and give you some updates on this one. I have burned it about halfway down. Yeah, I'm actually looking at it right now. I've burned about 2/3 of it right now. I will say that this candle is performing very well for me. I am not having any issues with it pulling out. The wicks do get slightly long after about 3.5 hours of a burn time, which is typically what they recommend, the length of how long you would burn a candle each time. So I will typically extinguish it after 3.5 hours. And I do trim my wicks just slightly. But on this candle in particular, I'm not having any issues at all with the wicks carbon balling or getting puny. We don't want either one of those. They're not falling over into the wax pool. It pools out very nicely and evenly, very quickly. This one is throwing quite well for me, you guys. I would say that this one is a strength of about a 7, but the throw is about an 8. I can smell it all throughout my living room here, into my kitchen. It's not waiting around the corners into my bedrooms. If you're new to my channel, my home is approximately 1,700 square feet. It's a single story. I have high ceilings in the living room, which is where I'm currently filming and burning this candle, but I do have lower ceilings and more closed concept in my bedrooms. So that gives you kind of a gauge here. But I'm actually really liking this candle. It's very much like a deep plum type of fragrance. Like I said, if you like those plummy kind of notes, you will really like this one. I think that there's notes of patchouli in there, but quite frankly, you guys, they're listed on there, but I don't really detect patchouli. This is just a nice, deep fruit type of scent. This is a fruit scent that I would definitely equivocate with this season. It's not one that I would want to burn like in the spring or summer. It's a very nice fragrance and it's doing very well for me. So if you're interested in that one, I would say yes, go ahead and pick it up. Also, just to let you guys know, I do have ambassador codes with Homeworks and Kringle Candle. I will make sure that I have that listed in the description box down below, as well as every candle that I talk about. I will make sure that I have listed down below in case you are interested in purchasing them. But honestly, you guys, my intention with this video is more so to encourage you to just look into your current collection and have some fun and let's burn through them. And the other thing that I do here is I typically am burning 2 candles at once. One will be here in my living room, and then I have another one burning in my bedroom right now. And I'm typically looking for candles that are going to complement one another. So the other candle that I'm currently burning in my bedroom, and I'll insert a picture here, is KRINGLE's Blackberry Buttercream. Now, I do believe that this one might be on the chopping block, so I don't even know if it's still currently available. Last I checked, I feel like I still saw it in stock, but this one I picked up a couple of months ago on like a 50% off clearance type of sale, and I bought it in the large jar because that's what jar was on sale. I've heard a lot of people talk about it. This is a really nice fragrance. Now, it's in my bedroom right now, so I have the lid here to sniff. You would think with a name like Buttercream that this would be an overly sweet, you know, you might be a little bit nervous if you find sweet fragrances cloying. I don't detect that at all. This is a nice, creamy, slight berry note in there, but it's not even so much berry, I think, to my nose. It's kind of just like a nice spiced buttercream. That's a weird way to say it, but it's very nice. It's a very light, fruity buttercream with a touch of spice in the background. I will make sure that I have it linked down below so you can look at all of the scent notes in it. But this one has paired really nicely with this Possessed Plum candle. If you're burning any of those deeper fruit type of candles or even any kind of berry type of candles right now, this one has been a really nice pairing with it. I would say that a strength and throw on this one, it's pretty light for me. I would say it's about a 5. It does a lot better for me burning in my bedroom than it does out here in the open concept living room. Speaking of another candle that I have been burning that Blackberry Buttercream with is a new one from Homeworks. Now, this one has been popping up in the like Marshalls, TJ Maxx, Home Goods. I've been seeing some people find it there. If you have not been able to find it in your local discount stores, do not fear. This one is being released very, very soon. I can't give the exact date, but very soon on the SLATKIN & Co., formerly known as Homeworks website. So if you are interested in this one, you will be able to get a hold of it pretty quickly. This is Mulled Berry Cobbler. Now again, this was one that Homework sent to me. The ambassadors were actually able to choose one candle from their new Gather collection. I believe this is one of 5 candles. There's like a sweet potato pie. I think there's a stuffing. There's this one. There was, there's 2 more in that. But this is just one of those from the collection. So the fragrance notes on this are mulled berries, raspberry jam, spiced maple, and cobbler crust. Now, I burned this one all day yesterday, and it's so funny. This, to me, there's definitely a berry note in it. On burn, I get a little, I wouldn't necessarily say that I get a crust note, yet there is a warmth to this that, again, is not like your summertime berry type of scent. This does remind me of like the berry that you would have inside of a cobbler, like it's like that gooey type of filling, but it's not overly sweet or tart. It doesn't remind me of a summertime berry. I think some of you guys, if you're seasonal burners, you guys know what I'm talking about. I feel like there's a distinction between a summertime berry and like fall berries, or more of a gourmand type of berry, and that definitely is in this one. You know what's funny is my family, when I had them smell this on cold, and then yesterday when it was burning, they all said, now this would be something that's very regional. If you are in the southwestern part of the United States, if you have ever visited Knott's Berry Farm, which is in Southern California, my family goes there quite a bit. It's so funny. My whole family said, this smells like the shop. If there's one ride there called like Berry Tales, it's similar to that like Buzz Lightyear one at Disneyland where you have like the virtual reality and you're trying to like shoot. There's these coyotes that are stealing pies and whatnot. They have a little gift shop right below the ride that my family is like, it smells like that. I feel like they're like pumping this fragrance into that store. And I was like, oh my goodness, you're right. I like it. It's a very nice berry scent. Is it necessarily, it's not strawberry. It says raspberry jam in here and mulled berries. And I would say that mulled berries accord, whatever they're using for that, is definitely what I get, because like I said, this is more of like a deeper berry type of note. It's really nice. Strength and throw on this one, I would say the first burn on it was about a 6. I did not have any issues with it pulling out, although I will say that it didn't pull out as quickly as that Possessed Plum. The Possessed Plum pulls out completely for me within 20 minutes. This one took a little bit longer on the first burn, although it's not having any of those wick issues. It didn't have any problem getting all the way like a wax pool, but it did take about an hour to pull out on that initial first burn. But you can see right now, like I haven't trimmed the wicks or anything on this. I hope you can possibly see that in there. It's doing very nicely. The wicks didn't fall over on it. So this one's performing nicely. But like I said, first burn on it was about a 6. I would say I extinguished it like 3 times yesterday and relit it. And I would say by the third burn, that strength and throw increased to about a 7 for me. So nice fragrance. I actually think it's really nice. Another candle that I did a dedicated review on, so I'm not going to talk too much about it here. If you want more information about it, I can give it to you. But this is the peanut butter and raspberry jam. Fragrance notes are peanut butter, raspberry jam, caramelized sugar, and vanilla bean. I will go ahead and direct you to my dedicated review on it. But again, that like cranberry colored type of wax. Spoiler alert, cranberry is more the note that I get from this than raspberry jam. But there is like that saltiness of peanut butter in the background, although I don't identify it as peanut butter. But yeah, for more in depth on this, I do have a detailed review on this one. And then the candle that I think pairs really nicely with this one is Harvest Leaves, which we all know that this is a classic from Homeworks. I'm sorry if my ring light is like reflecting off of this, but I need the ring light so that I have a little bit of light in here. Fragrance notes of spiced pumpkin, mandarin, cranberry, fir balsam, and apple wood. Oh, this one's so good, you guys. It's like that, you get that cranberry note in here, but there's like a leafy earthiness to this as well that balances it out. So it's not overtly like a cranberry candle. You wouldn't walk in and be like, oh, it smells like cranberries in here. It's just so fresh and nice. And I feel like this is one of the most versatile fall candles because I feel like you can burn it now all the way up through Thanksgiving, maybe even going into the Christmas season if you're not somebody that likes overt, tree notes or anything like that. This is a very versatile candle for this time of year. Switching gears to something else that's not really like what I would say is like, oh, that's a fall candle, but it's one that's in my collection and I have been burning it with another newfound favorite. If you caught my empties video earlier on this week, I talked about Bath & Body Works Coffee and Whiskey and how much I just love that fragrance. It is so, so good. So that one is still currently in my rotation. I don't have it sitting right here in front of me, but that is another one that I will oftentimes burn at night, or maybe if I want a break from all of the like leafy pumpkin apple type of fragrances. But I have been burning the Dalgona candle. Now this is from the Kringle Reserve line. I'm not sure if this is back in stock. I don't think they have restocked this one yet, but if you have it in your collection, pull it out and burn it alongside that coffee and whiskey because this is such a nice fragrance. It's like a creamy coffee, little bit of chocolate note in here. It's just so nice and it really complements that coffee and whiskey scent nicely. Another Kringle candle that was part of their spring release, but when I smelled it, I was like, that's actually a candle that I would burn more so in the fall, and that would be Tea Time. Now I have this in the large 2-wick soy. You can see that, I've burned it almost halfway. I would say about 2/3 of the way down here. Typical of soy wax, there's a little bit of that soy residue on the glass, but you guys know these candles burn so, so cleanly. Now this to me is like a chai tea type of scent. They have another fragrance called herbal tea and you get a little bit more lemon and like some black tea in that, but this to me is more of like a chai tea fragrance, which I love me a good chai tea latte when the weather cools down. So this is also, again, another nice change up if you want something different from pumpkin, apple, gourmand. It's a gourmand without there being any like creaminess or anything like that behind it. It's just a nice chai spice type of fragrance. This one has actually been pretty nice for me. Oh, I was gonna say, I'm sorry, I need to back up on the strength and throw of these, you guys. I get talking and then I forget like, oh, I really need to give you more information. Dalgona for me is, I would say, about a good 7 to 8. The reserve candles tend to perform a little bit better for me than their standard 2-wick lineup. The tea time fragrance is about, I would say, about a 6, which I think might be a good thing, because that spiced like chai type of fragrance, if it were a 10, that would almost be headache inducing for me. This one is very nice because it's, you can smell it in the background, but it's not going to overtake and give you a headache. So that's the performance on there. Here's a candle that I feel like I never hear anybody talking about from Kringle, but to be honest with you guys, this is probably hands down my favorite fragrance to burn from Kringle Candle during this month. And this is Autumn Amber. Now, this is not a new release. I don't know when this one was released. I've only burned it once so far, because part of me is like, I want to savor it, even though that's kind of dumb. I mean, I can always go ahead and buy it again next year. This candle, if you are familiar with and enjoy Bath & Body Works Autumn, get this. This smells very similar to my nose. Autumn is actually a fragrance that I like better than Leaves. And I know like sometimes the candle brands, they don't like us comparing everything to like to another brand's candle. However, I'm also aware that most of you, the easiest candles that you can get your hands on are usually Bath & Body Works. So when I'm giving you a comparison, I'm doing that for you, because a lot of the times you're buying these blindly. But this one, to me, it's got that apple note. There's some leafiness behind it. Oh, it's so good. I really, really like this one. Strength and throw on this one for me, again, is around that 6.5, 7. I can get a little bit of increased throw if I put it in a hurricane, which is typically what I like to do with most of my candles these days anyways. But this one I always get a lot of compliments on, and I feel like I never see anybody talking about this, but it is really, really good. Also, if you caught my empties video, I talked about that I do have Kringle's new leaf peeper. That is another one that I will be burning alongside this in the month of September. However, my original one came melted to me. You guys can catch that video to see how that ended up happening. And so I just reordered during their 30% off sale. They may still have that going on this weekend. If they do, I'll make sure, you know, you can't use my code with that, but 30% off is pretty good. I did go ahead and order leaf peeper in the Kringle 3-wick to burn alongside this one. That one is very, very similar to Bath & Body Works Leaves. Some candles that go well with that, what was that called? Autumn Amber. This one is Anjou Allspice. Now, this is another one that is rumored to be discontinued soon. So if this is a favorite fragrance of yours, you might want to stock up on it. This one is more pear heavy. So, you know, the Autumn Amber is a little bit more apple is what stands out to my nose with those leaf accords in there. This one is more like, you've got that spiced pear, little bit of apple in the background, but this is definitely, again, another fall fragrance that blends very beautifully with a candle like Autumn Amber or Leaf Peeper. You can also burn this alongside another candle that I'm going to show you here from the Kringle Reserve line, but it just gives kind of that more early fall type of aesthetic. Pear is a fragrance that I typically will only burn in the months of August and September, and then I'm done and over with it. Again, this one is about a strength and throw of about a 6. Nice clean burn for me here. I haven't trimmed the wicks yet. I found that the Kringle wicks, I actually don't really need to trim. I do just out of habit because I don't like carbon residue at the top. But I also find that the wicks don't really, like, what is it called, fall out into the wax pool. So that one's been very good for me. A candle that Kringle sent to me, and I do believe that this one may be sold out. Don't quote me on that, but this is also part of their reserve line. This is Red Delicious. So this is, again, from their reserve line. I get a little bit more strength and oomph from this. I'm always careful when I'm opening these reserve line candles because I know a lot of other ambassadors have talked about this, and Mick Kittredge also told us that these candles, these jars actually get handled much more than these ones because they have to send them to their factory that does all of the custom painting for them. So they package them up to send them, then they're handled to paint, then they repackage them, send them back to Kringle, then they're put out, then they're repackaged to you, the customer. So they get handled a little bit more. So they may be, I don't want to say more prone to breakage, but they are slightly more fragile. In any case, if you ever have that issue with one of your reserve candles, or basically any candle, if you've ever had any issues with any of your Kringle candles, I know that they have an amazing customer service department. I've experienced a great customer service with them prior to me becoming an ambassador and even afterwards. So that's just something to let you guys know. But this Red Delicious, this is just like your nice crisp apple type of fragrance. It's a sweet apple. I don't really smell anything else. Like there's no like leafy notes or anything like that. This is just like a good genuine apple scent. Slightly reminds me of the apple that was in, I'm going to date myself here, like in the original Country Apple from Bath and Body Works. It's a nice, good, clean apple. Now this one is a good strength and throw of about an 8 for me because it is part of that reserve line. The oils are a little bit higher end, but that one is a nice one to pair with Apple Cider Donut. Now this is the first time that I have purchased this one from Kringle Candle. I've heard a lot of hype about it. I will say that this is more of like a cider type of scent. It's very nice. I don't really get much donut from this. I still say, and you know, anybody can come for me, I'm not willing to fight, but I still do say that I think Homeworks has cornered the fried donut type of accord the best out of any candles that I personally have tried so far, because I don't really get a donut note out of this. But regardless, I love the cidery scent to this. I get some of that, like, it smells almost like caramelized, like brown sugar, apple, touch of cinnamon sugar in here. But I really like this one. These fragrances, sometimes these like sweetened apple fragrances, I have to be a little bit cautious with because they can tend to get a little bit cloying for me. This one is also about a 6.5, 7 for me, which I am perfectly fine with because I think this candle, if it were any stronger, I personally would be like, oh, I could only handle maybe like 2 hours of it and then want to blow it out. All right. I'm going to go ahead and talk about a candle that honestly, you guys, I can't even believe this happened. So when I did my Homeworks candle haul a couple of weeks ago, this one was in my pile and somehow I forgot to talk about it. And of course, it's like one of the most hyped up, sorry you guys, I'm just trying to be a magician here. It is one of the most hyped up new releases from Homeworks. Sorry, that's really loud, you guys. All right, so this candle that I totally forgot to talk about, but I did post a little review of it over on my Instagram channel or Instagram feed, I guess that's what I would call it, Palo Santo Pumpkin. Now, I think Palo Santo is like the it girl this year. I feel like a lot of brands are incorporating Palo Santo into their fragrance lineup. So Homeworks has done it. If you caught my empties video, you guys know that I love Bath and Body Works Palo Santo Vanilla. Not a fan of their just original Palo Santo, but that Palo Santo Vanilla candle was just amazing. So when Homeworks came out with this Palo Santo Pumpkin, you better believe that my ears were perked up to it. The fragrance notes on this are Palo Santo, pumpkin puree, cinnamon stick, and suede wood. Now, I wrote in my review, Palo Santo is, it's got the phrase Hollywood. It's actually a plant or a tree that grows in South America, southern Mexico, those areas. And it has been used for centuries over many cultures for, they use it kind of like in more like spiritual practices or just like for healing and whatnot. And while I personally don't use it in that type of method, I really like the fragrance of it. It's woodsy and resinous, slightly sweet though. And it's kind of weird. I describe it as it's smoky without being like campfire smoky to me. That's kind of a hard way for me to say that, but that's what it is. In this candle in particular, I know a lot of people tell me that they smell pumpkin in it. I don't really detect a lot of pumpkin in this fragrance. This is one that, regardless of me not detecting the pumpkin, I actually really like this fragrance. This is one that I will be picking up more of. This one in particular was sent to me from Homeworks, and also the packaging on it I think is absolutely stunning. When it is lit up, you see like this tree line light up. Homeworks does a really good job on their labels. These wraparound labels, I think, just create an extra layer of ambiance with their candles. But this one, the only thing that I would say about it, and I saw my friend Melanie said the same thing, and I was like, okay, she's having the same experience as me. This one varies in the strength and throw. So it's weird. Sometimes I will get like a 7, 7.5 out of this, and then other times I won't get anything more than like a 5. It's kind of strange. I do think that this one increases in strength and throw the longer that you burn it. So this is a candle that I typically will burn for 4 hours because I feel like it really doesn't come into its potential until I've had it lit for about 2 to 2.5 hours in terms of that like really starting to throw across the room. This one is really nice. I like it, but I will tell you that I don't really get much pumpkin from it. I get more of that smoky kind of Palo Santo wood. It's kind of woody and resinous, again, without being like pine woods or anything like that. It's very nice. It's very earthy and deep. It's a perfect scent for this time of year or like a nighttime type of candle. It's very, am I allowed to say like sexy? It's a very nice scent. My husband, this is actually one of his favorite fragrances in the entire fall lineup. He really, really likes this candle. Now, because I don't really detect much pumpkin note in here, one of the candles that I have been burning alongside this is Sugar Pumpkins from KRINGLE. This was a new release in their 2022 fall lineup, and I bought it in the daylights last year, and then I decided to go ahead and purchase it for this fall season. Now, this is a pumpkin scent, but this is more of like a creamy, you've got some vanilla mixed with your pumpkin. It's not like an overly spicy type of pumpkin scent. It's very, very nice. I actually had somebody who's very scent sensitive compliment this fragrance the other day when she came over to my home. She said, this one's really nice because she said most pumpkin scents have a little bit too much cinnamon or spice mixed in with them. And she said, this one's really nice. She said, it's not bothering my allergies or anything like that. Now, that being said, this one is about a strength and throw of about like a 5.5, 6 for me. So I typically burn this one in my bedroom. Again, you can get increased strength and throw with a Hurricane. But this one is really nice. There's a creaminess to it. It definitely epitomizes this time of year. It's a great blending candle. It's not really going to compete with any of your other fall fragrances. And then finally, another candle that was sent to me from Homeworks, and I'm gonna be really honest with you guys, this is one that is like a one and done. I'm not really sure. I'll go ahead and finish it out, but it's not going to be a repurchase for me. This is Patchouli and Teakwood. So this again is another new fragrance to their lineup this fall. The fragrance notes are patchouli, cedar teakwood, bourbon oak, and rich plum. I don't get any plum note on cold sniff or when I am burning this one. The most dominant note in this one for me is cedar mixed with patchouli, and I think that that's why it's just not really for me. Now, it's funny because cedar wood is actually a note that I like in a lot of my fall and winter fragrances. I love it in a lot of fragrances, but this is more like the cedar, like I have a cedar chest from my grandma. This, I told my husband, this reminds me of when I was a little kid and that cedar chest was placed at the end of my parents' bed. I remember going into my parents' master bedroom and it's smelling kind of like this. I told him, I said, it like reminds me of that for whatever reason of opening up that cedar chest. That's what I smell, but I do get some of that patchouli in here too. This is very earthy. So if you are somebody who likes some of those more earthy, dare I say slightly hippie type of fragrances, I think that you would enjoy this, but for me, it's gonna be a one and done. Now, I will say, thankfully, this one is not overly strong. In fact, this one has probably been my poorest performer of all of the candles that I talked about today. This one is a strength and throw of about a 4 for me. It's just not really going anywhere. You'll also see that the wicks are getting a little bit wonky on this for me, but I mean, if you like those earthy fragrances, I would say go for it if you can pick it up at the discount retailers. But that one is probably one that I'm like, the sooner I can be done with it, probably the better. So that is gonna wrap it up for me today. These are the candles that are currently in my rotation for the month of September. Make sure you're subscribed to my channel because I will at the end of this month, if I finish any of these, I will have the most in-depth review, which are my empties video. I just uploaded my August empties earlier this week. So if you missed that, make sure that you go and check that out because I talk about a lot of other candles there. Also coming up this week, I plan to film some videos on some of the new Kringle candles that have come out. I will be getting my Halloween Kringle order this week, and I will film that for you. Now, some of you guys are like, wow, that really took a long time. Actually, it did not. I did go ahead and place that order at the launch date, and this is something that you can do with Kringle. I went ahead and emailed them at that time because it was early August and it was still extremely hot where I live. I went ahead and emailed them and said, can you please not ship those until after September 1st, because I don't want to risk them melting getting over here, which of course Phoenix is going to have like 110 degree temperatures this weekend, but supposedly when they're supposed to be delivered to me this week, the weather should drop slightly, and I'm hoping those won't be melted. I'm not really somebody who gets that crazy about Halloween. It's not a holiday that I really celebrate. It's not in line with my personal beliefs, but some of the candles did intrigue me, and yeah, I'm excited to partake in a couple of those candles. Also coming up this week, I do have, I know some of you guys are like, I'm not gonna listen to that yet, and that's totally fine. But Kringle Candle did release their holiday lineup. They have 12 fragrances. I believe 8 of them are brand new fragrances. 4 of them are returning favorites. The ambassadors were given the opportunity very generously to go ahead and pre-order those candles. So my shipment should be arriving on Tuesday for me. And once I get that in, I will be filming my first sniff impressions. I'm thinking about bringing my husband back on that one. I know some of you guys who have been with me for a while, we've had a couple of videos that we've done together, and those are always really fun to get not only my opinion, but also his, because we have some different preferences when it comes to home fragrance. So let me know in the comments down below if you would like Cody to join me for that. But the Christmas lineup, that is not, they're not like reserve line candles or anything like that. So I will just say that if you are not yet ready to purchase Christmas candles, I totally understand that. And I don't, there might be a few that might sell out, but they will probably restock prior to the holiday season. So I'm not pressuring you or anything. I'm just going to film that video and put it out there for you in case you would like my thoughts on some of the holiday releases. So that is all that I have for you. I say that is all. I don't even know how long this video is, but it's probably pretty lengthy as I like to become a little bit verbose in my reviews. Let me know in the comment box below 2 fragrances that you every September like to burn. It's like they are your go-to classics. I would like to know. Please don't forget to hit that thumbs up button if you enjoyed this video, subscribe if you're new, and as always, until my next video, I hope you all go out and have a very blessed day. Bye.